The following lesson is linked to Learning Outcome 2, Reading and Viewing, and addresses the assessment standard that requires learners to explore and explain key features of texts and how they contribute to meaning. This lesson also links to Learning Outcome 3, Writing and Presenting, and the assessment standard that requires learners to decide on and effectively apply the appropriate style, point of view, and format of texts. Magazines are a unique type of text. Like newspapers, they contain a collection of articles about current events and issues, and regular features such as letters and columns. But whilst newspapers are aimed at a general audience, most magazines have a specialized target audience, and they cover a narrower range of topics in a more detail to appeal to its readers. Like books, magazines are aimed at specific target audiences and designed to appeal to them in different ways and to fulfill different intentions. But magazines are more affordable than books, and they are published on a regular rather than once-off basis. Hi, I'm Kushu. Today we're going to look at a regular feature of magazines that you won't find in either books or newspapers, the tailpiece. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to identify the tailpiece of a magazine, state the purpose and intention of a tailpiece, write an appropriate tailpiece. Tailpiece is the final feature in a magazine that is found in every issue. It is the magazine's final say. Here's Force Kashani, editor of Bona magazine, to tell us why the tailpiece is such an important part of a magazine.
Well, it's very important because it makes the reader to stand up and read it, to say that this is an important part of the magazine, and it makes the reader to go and for another article, you know. But if it's not included there, it doesn't give the reader, you know, a much boost to go on, because remember that the readers keep these magazines for a long time, unlike a newspaper where they read it and throw it away. But with a magazine, they keep it for years, some as long as 5 to 10 years.
It's easy to find the tailpiece, as it is the feature that appears just before the back cover. The purpose of the tailpiece is very often linked to the magazine's purpose, and it also considers the needs of the target audience. For example, if a magazine's intention is to entertain and its target audience is teenage girls, the tailpiece might be an interview with a hot young celebrity. In another magazine aimed at sophisticated older women, the tailpiece might consist of interviews with famous people with the intention of broadening the reader's general knowledge. So, tailpieces vary from magazine to magazine depending on the target audience and intention. Let's have a look at some specific examples. This tailpiece is from 17 magazine. It provides a space in which 17 readers from around the country can send in their photos for publication. Do you think the intention of this tailpiece and the magazine are similar? Do you think the target audience of the tailpiece is the same as that of the magazine? The intention of the magazine is to entertain and to inform. The title of the magazine, 17, makes it clear that this magazine is aimed at teenagers, particularly female teenagers. The intention of this tailpiece is also to entertain. It's fun for readers to see their photos in a national magazine, and this is also a great way to get people to buy the magazine. 17 needs to make sure that every article appeals to their target audience of teenage girls. The whole magazine uses bright colors and a relaxed feel to appeal to a younger audience, and so does the tailpiece. The tailpiece would also appeal to readers by giving the impression that the writers of 17 are interested in the readers and what they do. Let's have a look at another example. This tailpiece is taken from Fair Lady magazine. It's quite different from the one in 17 magazine. From looking at the tailpiece, what can you tell about the target audience of this magazine? Members of the target audience of this magazine would be older than those of 17 magazine. We can work this out because visually the colors are a lot more subtle, and there's also a lot more writing on the page. If we look at the actual article, we can tell that this tailpiece focuses on the personal issues of the writer, Sam Wilson. Let's read the opening paragraph.
The other day, we arranged to meet friends at the beach. My bikinied friend, Kira, nestled comfortably in a lounger, glanced up from the paper she was reading as I arrived with my family. "At last you've arrived," she said. "Now that you've found us, you can go get your stuff." "What stuff? We have towels," I answered happily. "What else could we need? Sand, sea, and... Cool, are those croissants? Is that today's paper? Can I use that chair when you go for a swim?" Kira shook her head at me sadly.
How would you describe the style of language used in this tailpiece? The tailpiece in every edition of Fair Lady provides the reader with a look into the life of the writer. In this issue, Sam Wilson tells us the story of when she and her husband met friends at the beach. The style is quite casual and informal. The writer is telling the story from her own point of view. She uses first-person pronouns such as, "I arrived with my family." You may ask, what is the purpose of having someone write about their own experience? What does it have to do with the readers of the magazine? Quite a lot, actually. You see, Sam Wilson is a person that the magazine's target audience can identify with. She's a married working woman who's also a mother. The target audience of Fair Lady would find her stories amusing and often similar to their own lives. The intention of Fair Lady's tailpiece is to show the reader that women in the 21st century can lead happy, successful lives, even though they may feel overwhelmed at times. Let's have a look at one final example. This next example is taken from the Marie Claire magazine. This magazine has a similar target audience to that of Fair Lady. Their focus, however, is on educated, career-driven women, while the tailpiece of Fair Lady focuses on women and their families. The tailpieces in Marie Claire focus on famous, successful people. In this issue, the tailpiece takes the form of an interview with the author, Marian Keyes. The novels that Marian Keyes has written appeal mainly to women, so it's fitting that she's interviewed in a magazine aimed at women. The intention of this tailpiece is to show the reader that it's possible for women to succeed in life. So it's inspirational as well as informative. In terms of layout, this tailpiece is quite different to the other examples we have seen. The tailpiece is presented as a Q&A, in other words, as a series of questions and answers. This layout allows the reader to read the answers that were given by the celebrity word for word, making readers feel as if they listened to the interview. Another reason for writing the tailpiece in this way is so that the amount of text doesn't look so overwhelming, because the questions are written in red and answers in black. The article appears to be broken into smaller, more manageable pieces to read. We've now looked in detail at 3 different tailpieces. Now let's summarize what we've learned so far. We have learned that tailpieces are regular features, are the last article in the magazine, are determined by the intention and target audience of the magazine, include information that the magazine wants to leave the reader with. As this is our last lesson on exploring magazines, let's take one more look at what we have learned in this series. This overview should also serve as a checklist for the magazine that you and your group have been creating as you have completed the tasks in this series. First of all, we have learned that there are many different types of magazines that have different intentions and target audiences. We know that magazines are aimed at specific target audiences and that it's quite easy to guess the age, gender, and interests of typical readers. However, we should be careful of making sweeping statements about typical readers of magazines. Not all girls, for example, will like 17. And not every reader of Wine magazine is old and wealthy. People can also like and read more than one type of magazine because people have a range of interests that may be covered in different magazines. So a housewife may like a magazine that includes recipes and knitting patterns. But she may also like a magazine that gives celebrity gossip and another magazine that analyzes current events in the news. Before we go on, think about the magazine that you've been working on. Who is your magazine's target audience? Page through your magazine and see whether the articles, features, and layout will appeal to your target audience. In these lessons, we have also learned that every magazine has an intention or intentions. In other words, what the magazine aims to achieve. As a critical reader, you should figure out what a magazine is trying to do and whether you are happy to buy and read something with that intention. For example, if a magazine intends to inform readers about the private lives of celebrities, you may not want to buy a magazine that achieves this aim by spying on people and publishing rumors without their permission. Think about the intention of your group's magazine. Is it to entertain, inform, or educate? Or does it have a range of intentions? Do the articles and features in your magazine help to achieve its intentions? Next, we learnt about the structure of a magazine, how the same order is followed in each edition which readers become familiar with. We also learned about how the style, design, and layout of individual pages are related to the type of magazine and the target audience it is trying to appeal to. And we have discussed how all the sections and articles of a magazine would need to be designed in such a way as to fit in with the overall look and feel of the magazine. Think about the overall structure of your magazine. Is it logical and easy to follow? Next, consider the design of your magazine. Do you think it will appeal to your target audience? Have you used pictures, colors, and special writing to draw in readers who are part of your target audience? Is the same style of layout and design carried through from the cover to the back page? In this series, we've also learned about feature articles. These articles are the main articles in the magazine, and they are often listed on the front cover to encourage people to buy the magazine. In terms of layout, we learned that feature articles include a headline and a blurb which tells readers what the article is about, and that they may also have a sidebar, information box, or contact list to give additional information on the topic covered in the article. In terms of content and style, feature articles are written on topics or issues which readers will care about or find interesting to know about, and using a style that is appropriate for the content that is being covered. Think about the layout, content, and style of the feature articles that your group has written for your magazine, and ask yourselves the following questions. Does each feature article feature on the front cover, contain a suitable headline and blurb and other additional information, talk about an issue that will interest the target audience, use an appropriate writing style to suit the content? In the lesson on advertising in magazines, we learnt about how adverts are placed in magazines that have the same target audience as the product being advertised. We also learned that there are a number of steps that the advertisers can use to help ensure that their advert will be successful. Think about the adverts that you have done in your groups. Have they followed the ADA steps? Will your adverts attract the attention of the target audience? Will they create and hold the interests of the target audience? Will your adverts create a desire for the product? And finally, will your adverts convince the target audience to take action? In these lessons, we learned that all magazines have regular features which appear in each edition of the magazine. These regular features may include a puzzles section, reviews, the editor's letter, or a calendar of events that will take place in the next month. Check the reviews and puzzles that your group has designed. Are they likely to appeal to your target audience? Are they laid out in an eye-catching, easy-to-read way? The final regular feature of magazines that we have discussed is the tailpiece. You haven't written one of these yet, but you will in today's task. For today's task, you're going to write a tailpiece for your magazine. You might want to write a personal account, a Q&A interview, or include lots of photos like the one of the examples that we saw at the start of this lesson. Whatever format you choose, it should attract and interest your target readers. I hope you find this series on magazines entertaining and informative, and that it will help you to read magazines with more understanding and enjoyment. I also hope that you have enjoyed creating your own magazine, and that the tasks in this series have helped you to understand how much thought goes into creating each component of a magazine. From me, Kushu, see you next time.